Welcome everybody to 5 Minute Sunday School with your host Tramel Belt. We're going to try to get right into the lesson for February 20th, 2011. It's coming from Mark 10th chapter, the 35th through the 45th verse, and it reads, "And James and John, the son of Zebedee, come unto him, saying, Master, we would that thou shouldest do for us whatsoever we shall desire. And he said unto them, What will you that I should do for you? They said unto him, Grant unto us that we may sit one on the right hand and the other on the left hand in thine glory. But Jesus said unto them, Ye know not what ye ask. Can ye drink of the cup that I drink of, and be baptized with the baptism that I am baptized with? And they said unto him, We can. And Jesus said unto them, Ye shall indeed drink of the cup that I drink of, and with the baptism that I am baptized with all shall ye be baptized. But to sit on my right hand and on my left hand is not mine to give, but it shall be given to them for whom it is prepared. And when the 10 heard it, they began to be much displeased with James and John. But Jesus called them to him and saith unto them, Ye know that they which are accounted to rule over the Gentiles exercise lordship over them, and their great ones exercise authority upon them. But so shall it not be among you, but whosoever will be great among you shall be your minister. And whosoever of you will be the chiefest shall be servant of all. For even the Son of Man came not to be ministered unto, but to minister, and to give his life a ransom for many." This was about a week before the Passover, as they were heading up to Jerusalem before Jesus was to be crucified. To get a better understanding, let us first go back to the 34th and 35th verse of the 9th chapter in Mark. Here you see they were approaching Capernaum, and on their way, the disciples begin to argue or dispute amongst themselves. Jesus asked them what they were disputing about. Afraid to answer, they said, who would be the greatest? In the 35th verse, he sat down and he called the 12 near him, and he said, Whosoever be first shall surely be last, and servant of all. This sets us up for the 10th chapter. As they were on their way to Jerusalem, the disciples were behind them and they were very afraid. Jesus called them near again and began to tell them how he would be condemned by the priests and scribes to death, how they would spit upon him, how they would scourge him, how he would be delivered into the hands of the Gentiles, and they would mock him and eventually crucify him or kill him. He told them on the third day he should rise again. This confused them, but it did not confuse them enough or discourage them enough for them not to go after their own desires. James and John, son of Zebedee, came to Jesus and asked, Jesus, would you do us a favor, Master? Jesus asked them, what would you have me to do? And they said, well, we want to sit on your right hand and on your left hand in thy great glory, because they did not understand what was about to happen. Even though Jesus had told them more than one time, they still would not accept what was truth. He asked them, can you drink of the cup that I drink? And can you be baptized with the baptism that I am baptized with? And without hesitation, without understanding of what they were about to say, James and John immediately said yes. Jesus replied to them, Indeed, you will drink of the cup that I drink, and you will be baptized with my baptism. But to sit on my right hand and left, it's something that I can't give. It shall be given to those for whom it is prepared. The other 10 disciples heard what James and John had done. They were very displeased. And even though Jesus had told them about bickering about who would be the greatest in the 9th chapter, they still were upset that James and John were going to Jesus asking him for authority after his death. He told the disciples that whosoever shall be great among you shall be your minister, and whosoever shall be chief among you shall be servant of all. And he said, For the Son of Man did not come to be ministered unto, but to minister, and give his life as a ransom for many. This means that Jesus was truly the servant Messiah. He came not as the victorious Messiah based on their interpretations of the old scriptures or the prophecies. He came to minister or to serve to others, not for others to serve to him. Now let us apply the passage to us. Even though Jesus was telling the disciples about his pending persecution, his crucifixion, they still had their focus not on the crucifixion of the Messiah, but on who would have authority after Jesus left. So much so that in their ignorance, John and James came to Jesus and asked them to sit on the right and left hand of God. This would be the equivalent of being on Barack Obama's campaign trail as he ascended to become president and asking him for a position just because you was his friend. Can you sit as the vice president or the secretary of state? Jesus asked him, will you be able to drink of my cup? And can you be baptized with the baptism that I'm about to be baptized with? The cup represented the sufferings that Jesus was about to go through as he was persecuted before crucifixion. And he asked them that, but they did not understand. The baptism represented his actual death. So he was simply asking them, can you endure the sufferings and strict obedience to God? And can you accept death for your own sins? Without understanding what the cup and the baptism meant, James and John assured Jesus that they would be able to handle this, just because they were looking at glory instead of looking at the sufferings that Jesus was about to encounter. The greatness that Jesus wants us to achieve is one of service instead of position. James was the first to be martyred of the 11 disciples. All the rest of the disciples were either crucified or stoned to death except St. John. John was left to write the book of Revelations. Jesus contrasts the difference between the approach that the world takes with authority and approach that we must take spiritually. The world takes authority as someone who runs things, someone who exercises authority over others, someone who tells others what to do. Spiritual authority is serving others in order for them to be closer to God, closer to Christ, so that all may have salvation. Is my life a life of servitude? Am I trying to help others achieve salvation, or am I trying to just achieve glory for myself? A ransom is paid for something that is enslaved or captured. Our souls have been enslaved by the sins of this world. Jesus Christ suffered persecution and crucifixion, and through the shedding of his blood, Jesus gave salvation to the world. Thanks again to all my friends for watching another edition of 5 Minute Sunday School. Peace.